Justice Douglas said in his dissent, you know, if we're giving the police more power than a magistrate, we're entering a different regime. We're entering a different time. And he didn't say we better be careful, but the warning is we better be careful. And what's happened is, the language that Douglas used was, he said, if the individual is no longer sovereign, then the police can search and seize them indiscriminately. And we've reached this type of, this new regime. Let me read for you the statistic. Oh, so what happened was Justice Shira Shedlin gets the case. And if you know about cases, what happens is they go in a wheel, they get pulled out, it's all random. And I actually tried a case before Judge Shedlin at one time. And she's an extremely brilliant jurist. She's extremely hardworking. She's not the most liberal judge in the Southern District of New York, that's for sure. But she held a trial for 2 days. I think it was maybe a 3-day period, March 18th to March 20th. And this is the facts. Remember, we're talking about how do you find the facts? What are the issues? What's the analysis? So let's go with, these are facts, uncontested. Between January 2004 and June of 2012, over 4.4 million Terry stops occurred. And this was a specifically designed program by the New York City Police Department. The number of stops per year rose from 314,000 in 2004 to a high of 686,000 in 2011. The program was in place. I'm not on the inside, so I don't know how the officers were either encouraged and or awarded for making the stops. But look at this: how precipitous the rise was, from 314 to 686 in 7 years. Here are the important facts. So, of these 4.4 million people, 52% of all the stops were followed by a protective frisk for weapon. So remember, under Terry, there's articulable facts for stopping someone, supposedly, and now I have to reasonably believe the person is armed and dangerous. Now, in the 52%, a little over 2 million people who were frisked, a weapon was found 1.5% of the times. In other words, 98.5% of the 2.3 million people who were frisked had no weapon on them. 8% of all the stops led for the police officers to actually go into a person's clothing, not just on the outside. And the officers believed that it was either a weapon or contraband when they went inside the clothing. In 9% of those searches, the officers felt an object, it was actually a weapon. So that means that 91% of the times that the officers thought they had a weapon, they were wrong. In 14% of the searches, they did find drugs, some type of contraband, but that means 86% of the time they were incorrect. In all, in these 4.4 million stops, 6% of all the stops resulted in an arrest, and 6% resulted in a summons. That is, they were given a ticket and gone away. So that means 88% of the 4.4 million people who were stopped, after they were stopped by police who had to have an articulable reason. Remember, the police didn't walk up and say, hey, what do you think about the Yankees, right? They were basically investigating what they thought might be a crime or some type of criminal activity afoot. 86% of the people who were stopped, 88%, were basically then told, oh, go on your way. That, that's a mulligan on us. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Be on your way, after having been, what Terry said, not a petty indignity, right? They were actually stopped. They were seized by the police. Now, the interesting thing about the racial makeup of this was this. In 52% of the stops that actually involved then searches, 31% of the people who stopped were Black or Hispanic. 52% of the people who were stopped were Black, and 10% of the people who were stopped were white. I kind of jumbled that, so let's say it again. 52% of all the people stopped were Black, 31% were Hispanic, and 10% were white. The population of New York City is roughly about 33% white, 23% Black, and 29% Hispanic. So you can obviously see the stops are racially disparate compared to the population. The judge went on to find more facts. In a higher percentage of the cases, white people had contraband on them. In a higher percent of the cases, white people had weapons on them. And yet still, during this entire period of time, Blacks and Hispanics were always targeted more significantly than whites. So what does that mean? Where does that get us, right?